Hello, I'm Ann Craig, Executive Director of Jackson Street. On behalf of all of us at Jackson Street, welcome and thanks for being with us at our annual Youth Rising fundraising event. Whether you're in the room with us here in Adair Village or joining us online, we're so glad you're on the team and present with us tonight. Because tonight we are celebrating. We're celebrating our beginnings and how far we and the youth have come, then and now. But before we go any further, I'd like to offer special recognition and thanks for leadership from our wonderful business partners. Special thanks to presenting sponsor Town & Country Realty. Additional leadership comes from Columbia Seeds, Mortgage Express, Ola Renshaw Wealth Management, Samaritan Health Services, Fitzpatrick Painting and Construction, Farmers Insurance Grant Shield, and Republic Services. Our media sponsor is Horsepower Productions, and our supporting sponsors are Hub International, Barker Earlings Insurance, Oregon State Credit Union, Bomi and Running, and many others. Once again, thank you all for supporting youth in our community. Imagine a group of intrepid community members, fired up by injustice, meeting to address a gap in services for youth who had nowhere safe to go. Because of this grassroots movement and the dedicated work of our founders, a youth shelter opened its doors September 10th, 2001. That house on Jackson Avenue in Corvallis has since provided safety, stability, and well-being to youth in crisis from across the region. I've told this story so many times since I joined Jackson Street, and I'm still in awe of what they accomplished. Building on that incredible foundation, Jackson Street has worked to end youth homelessness by helping youth connect to caring adults and learn skills for self-sufficiency. Our services have grown in Benton and Lynn County by adding mentoring and support groups, street and school outreach, a second shelter in Albany, and longer-term housing units for young adults. It is with gratitude to our founders and everyone who has joined this movement since the beginning that we celebrate our 20th anniversary. This past year has had unique challenges. The needs of youth and families increased while staffing availability decreased. In the face of adversity, we chose to make good programs even better. In outreach, we enhanced support to our mentoring matches. For next steps, we added tiers of transitional housing of young adults. Currently, we are completing a major renovation of our Albany House youth shelter. I can't wait for you all to see it. It is gorgeous. We're even more proud to mark this anniversary celebration with the accomplishments of the youth we've had the privilege to know over the years. One of them, Allie, is generously sharing her story and memories with us from then to now.
So over the last 20 years, I would say, since my time in Albany 27 years ago, I believe that Jackson Street has helped the youth in our community that are experiencing housing insecurity. And also for those young people that are not nervous or are scared of what's next or where they're going to sleep that night. So as a beacon in our community, Jackson Street is a valuable resource for people that work with people that are housing insecure. And I think Jackson Street going forward can be even better in that now that more people are aware of the situation with our youth, they'll be more apt to participate, to donate, and get involved. And that's really actually volunteer their time to help Jackson Street move forward. I would like to congratulate Jackson Street for 20 years of service to our community. I realize it's a nationally well-known organization, but for Albany and for our community, Jackson Street is a beacon of hope for those young people that are experiencing housing insecurity. And I think that we must benefit from, and by supporting Jackson Street so they can help more and more youth come out of that situation.
Hi, I'm Biff Traber, the Mayor of Corvallis. I'm delighted to be here today to join with you all in celebration of Jackson Street Youth Services 20th anniversary. Wow, 20 years. That's a long time. That's a lot of service. But I think in Jackson Street's case, this organization has, over these 20 years, provided critical and growing service to this community, to the youth of the community, and later to young adults in the community. So I offer much appreciation for all Jackson Street has contributed, and many thanks to the organization and all of you who have supported them. Again, I offer congratulations to Jackson Street on this amazing anniversary and my wishes for an ongoing long-term future. Thank you.
Hello, I'm Catherine Fisher.
And I'm Lisa Marie Boyd. We are the co-owners and principal brokers of Town & Country Realty, a brokerage deeply rooted in this community since 1951.
We believe all people, especially the youth of our community, deserve a secure, safe place to come home to.
Town & Country Realty believes that being a part of this community means more than just selling houses.
It means being a good steward and supporting nonprofits that help those in need to continue to make Lynn and Benton counties wonderful places to live and work for everyone.
Town & Country Realty supports Jackson Street Youth Services because of its commitment to supporting and encouraging youth to be happy and productive members of our communities.
Jackson Street consistently and efficiently does what it says it's going to do, which is help the youth of our community.
They get into the schools, they connect with all of the different services in town, and they almost become a hub to try to find out who is missing in those gaps and who needs the help and who needs the support.
But also, because of the partnerships that Jackson Street is making, even nationally, it is helping the youth here. So together we are better, and this is just one more example.
Their network, it just spreads out like tentacles into all of the different services and helps bring those kids in and give them a safe place to be.
There are many reasons to support Jackson Street Youth Services, and we are excited to share some of those reasons here tonight.
I'm Ruby Moon, and I first started at Jackson's. I'm one of the founding members, so we started in the 90s. And my connection and why I even was interested is I had worked with at-risk youth for many, many years. I had a lot of them working for me in my store. I often taught classes. Some of the teachers in the high schools knew that I had at-risk kids at the store, and so they would ask me to talk at the high school. So I think that was my way in, and then Steve Black asked me to join. Told me about it, and I was in. The group was tenacious. And we met pretty much almost every week at somebody else's living room. I mean, we didn't need a meeting place. We didn't have any officials coming. It was just a bunch of local citizens just who cared about kids. I guess I'm just proud that we just had the tenacity to keep going and doing it. Just doing it. And it's still here. It's like it serves so many people. Children have long lives, and they deserve the opportunity to live a life well lived. Because many of us here in Corvallis do live lives well lived. You guys are just so amazing, and I am so, so proud. I am so proud of all that you've done and moved on, and you've done it step by step by step, and all the people have been affected. You just have to know in your heart that you have made huge changes in the lives of just so many people.
My name is Patricia Knutson, and I went to the very first meeting of to get the youth shelter started. Stephen Black and Emily and Janet and Ruby were core people that were there from the very beginning. Well, I wanted to tell you that I was the treasurer for several years, and I got on the board after I paid over $5,000 in payroll taxes out of my own pocket. I'm most proud of the fact that the shelter still exists, that it's thriving, that it's doing great things for kids. I still donate every month.
Well, my name is Emily Dana, and at the time that Jackson Street was before it was being conceived, I was married to Stephen Black, who is the guy who decided that he would go ahead and do what he could to start a youth shelter in Corvallis. So as his wife, I was involved. Well, it was a lot of fun, I thought, creating something and being with all these people who knew what they were doing. So we had this empty house and we had to figure out how to keep the boys and the girls separate, and we got to furnish it, and we got to, figure out how meals were going to work, and we built it, all the policies and procedures and all that stuff. One of my favorite things was being there at mealtime. Some of these kids had never had a sit-down meal in their life, and that was their favorite time of day, was 3 meals a day at the table. And they were so open about what was going on in their lives and what they were experiencing and how they were feeling. And well, Jackson Street, I'm hugely proud and impressed with what you've accomplished. I had no idea you'd become a national model. I'm speechless. Happy 20th birthday, and counting on many, many more.
I wish that more people understood that we are more than just a shelter. I wish people would know how incredible the youth that we're serving are, and how important the issue of youth homelessness is, and what Jackson Street is doing in our 3-county region, our state, and across the U.S. to help end youth homelessness. Such a big issue, but Jackson Street is making a huge impact on ending youth homelessness, on bringing that vision full circle.
I think that starts with our intake process. It starts with, this is what we're doing, and regardless if you make it or not, even if you leave after an hour, we have our aftercare services, and we're not going to let you fall through the cracks. And whenever you're ready, you can call us up.
We very much have evidence-based practices, don't get me wrong. We definitely have our by the books, we have trainings, we have all the things in the world. But at the end of the day, we do not lose sight of the person. Other organizations might look at a young adult or a youth as a name on a page, whatever. The culture is for staff and for clients, for youth, young adults. We know them as a person, we treat them as a person. That's the only way you can get to reach people. That is what makes the difference between other organizations that just say they care about you versus maybe a supervisor saying, how was that baseball game last week? Or how's that long-term goal of you saving up for a car? Like, they're not lost on supervisors, they're not lost on staff, and those are very unique.
Youth that come to our services, they don't trust service providers because a lot of the times they've let them down, or they don't trust adults because they haven't had that strong role model of an adult in their life. So for Jackson Street, trust is something that it takes a while to build, but it's the consistency that matters. I just look at these kids and I know that if they don't have someone to push them, then they won't push themselves. And every single one that comes into our services deserves the world. And they've been dealt some pretty crappy cards. But it's okay, because Jackson Street, we can take those cards and reshuffle them and able to kind of give them a little different outlook. Whether it's for 24 hours, whether it's 2 hours, whether it's 24 days, like, every kid deserves it.
I just know that every time I come to work every day, I'm just hoping to make some sort of impact, whether it's a laugh, whether it's showing a youth that, hey, this is where you can go to apply for a job, this is where you can go to apply for food stamps. Or if it's just me having a conversation with a youth, and a youth has that moment of vulnerability to where they're just like, thank you for listening, or just thank you for being there. I think it's those little seeds like that kind of keep me going and keep me coming back.
I would say more often than not, Jackson Street does get to see through our different continuums and the way that we have continuum of care and the way that we can meet youth throughout their young life, you know, in different stages. We have the opportunity to get to see a lot of those seeds actually come to fruition, and that's really exciting to get to be a part of that and get to observe those exciting moments of
those little achievements. Whether it's a youth learning how to do their laundry for the first time, or learn a new instrument, or just anything, like those little achievements I know keep me going. Because I know every single day is an opportunity for them to learn something. And so that's honestly what fuels me.
I think some of the best days are the days when we actually just get out of the shelter with the youth and we just go and do something fun. So like over spring break, we did so many activities. We went to the beach, we went to like the cheese factory or the zoo and all these things. And it's like, those are the days where you're like, these are literally children, and like, you need to treat them that way, and you need to connect with them and build that positive relationship with them. And it's just the best days to see them smiling and happy, even though like they're in the toughest situation right now.
This kind of might be a clashing of worlds for me, but I'm a big baseball guy. And if I learn anything from baseball, is that failure is expected. 7 out of 10 times you're gonna fail, and that's a good baseball player. Same thing with this work. I mean, the most rewarding thing to me out of this work is failing many times with youth and young adults. To learn something, to try something new, and be there every step of the way. I mean, and then at the end of it all, when it's like, hey, it clicked, or hey, wow, I have a key to my apartment that I never thought I was gonna get. I have a car that I never thought, I could drive. It's doing things and failing and going through all the hardship, and to truly kind of know how proud that young adult or youth is when they finally get it. There's nothing else. There's nothing better.
You get to choose, When I was hanging out with bad people when I was growing up, and not bad, they're still really good friends, but they chose different paths, Some are still facing drug charges, are in jail. Some are no longer here with us, and being able to be somewhere where I can also share that you can go somewhere, but it's your choice. You can decide to go down this path, or this path is going to lead you elsewhere, and be able to give that opportunity for another youth and to show them that they have potential and they're worthy of a chance at this thing that we call life. And for me too, I was given an opportunity. I was, started from the bottom, worked my way up, and I was given an opportunity from Kendra and the organization to continue to grow our program, and we're doing it, and it's just a great place to work. It's not just for the kids, it's also for our staff to be able to have a place that is for the kids, but also for us to be able to grow and to be challenged as young professionals, and to be a voice for the youth that aren't being represented.
I don't know. I just want everyone to know what impact Jackson Street has had for the past 20 years and what it will become in the next 20 years. Like, we can accomplish anything that we as this organization can set their mind to, and I know we can because we've made it this far, and I'm just blessed to be a part of this privilege, to be able to grow with this organization, challenge its limits, and see what else we can do to help serve these youth.
What would I tell a donor to inspire them about Jackson Street? Honestly, I don't know if I could tell a donor anything other than get involved and learn for yourself. Feel it for yourself. Meet these youth for yourself. Take the time to know who they are for yourself. Because once you have that opportunity and once you've been able to make a connection or just hear a story, that's all the convincing that you need to support Jackson Street, to support a youth that's struggling, and to help end youth homelessness.
So I ended up accessing Jackson Street for the first time when I believe I was 16. I was in a really abusive home. My stepdad was very physically, sexually, emotionally abusive. He's just a bad guy, you know, and family support back then wasn't as amazing as it is now for me. And so I got in trouble for drinking and running around doing stupid little crimes, and I ended up becoming a participant in the Benton County Juvenile Department programs. My probation officer at the Benton County Juvenile Department, I believe, placed me there not willingly, because my home life wasn't very good. And I wouldn't stay home. I was constantly running away. I was running around with all of these people who just weren't making very good choices. I was not making very good choices. And so my PO, I believe, was finally like, no, we're gonna have you somewhere stable. And he put me there. Well, I didn't want to go to Jackson Street because they would control my life. You know, they would make me follow rules, and they did. They were amazing. They helped me with school. They helped me with getting clean. They helped me with everything. But I didn't want to do it. You know, it was resistance the whole time. I was not an easy resident. No, I was angry. I was fresh out of a situation where the abuse was very, very intense. So I was really mean. The first time that I went there, I don't remember too terribly much about. I remember that Kendra was there, and I remember that John was the shelter manager at the time, and everyone was super welcoming. They were very much like, I want to support you, I want to be here for you, and I was pretty much the big middle finger. I didn't want any of it. I was still lost. I don't really remember when it changed, but I mean, by the time I left when I was 18, it was the most consistent place that I had ever been. It was amazing and supportive, and any time that I called, I was welcome to go. You know, it was, I think it changed because it was the most stable place I had ever, I think. And the people working there were really great. It was all the wraparound services that I received. It was the drug court program, it was the Yes House, it was Jackson Street, it was the juvenile department. All of them worked together, and they would communicate with each other, and they were constantly checking in, and they were constantly just making sure I was doing the best I could. I had a job. I was doing good, and I think it's because I was held accountable for the things that I would do and say, where I didn't have that at home because my mom worked all the time. And I mean, by the end of it, I started to feel like Jackson Street was more home than anywhere else, you know. And when I turned 19 and I moved back to Corvallis and I was looking for a job, I came to ask Kendra, can you help me? I need to find a job. And she said, well, we're hiring. And I was like, cool, what does that have to do with me? And a couple weeks later, I was working there, and I stayed there for about 3 years. And I'm gonna be honest, I think that was probably where kids are not really grateful to their parents when they're growing up. And I definitely could have been nicer to the staff at Jackson Street when I was living there, but I think that because of all of the support and everything, and then I turned around and I started working there, and it shaped me into being someone that I can be really proud of today. Yeah, I mean, Jackson Street's been there, like I said, it's going on 16 years now, and they still, Kendra just texted me today talking to me about how I'm doing, you know, and I'm 32 years old. I was 15 or 16 when I started accessing services, you know, and it's definitely, I know that if I need to, I can always call anytime, and they have my back. And that's huge, because I didn't have that for a really long time, you know, most of my life, and honestly more so than my family at some points. They've been there. For donors that are looking to support Jackson Street, the only thing I can say is it is literally a life-saving program. It is going to be the difference between life or death for some of these kids that come from programs or from lives that they can't survive in. They need to be safe. And Jackson Street is a safe place for them. It's a safe place now, even for some of the young adults that I'm hearing. There's a street outreach program for them. There's all these things. Like, it's like a lighthouse in like this big stormy ocean where you can go if you need to be safe. And if it wasn't there, things would be really bad. It would be really scary and dark. It's not just kids now. I was very angry. I was addicted to drugs. I was abused and hopeless and lost. And now I work in a place where I get to help people who are also abused and hopeless and lost. And I get to do for them the same thing that Jackson Street did for me. So it's not just one person. It's that pay it forward thing. It's you help one person, and then that person helps all these others, you know? I mean, it's not just this one program. It branches out into so many other areas in the community, and there's people that you wouldn't think need the help or that have access to the help that do. I have patients at the hospital that they had no idea that I was a drug addict, or that I'm a felon, or that I was a street kid there for a while. They didn't know any of that, and I get to tell them my story because I'm alive to tell them my story, and that was only possible with the help of, you know, places like Jackson Street.
From our beginning 20 years ago, it's the community who has been the pillar of this work. We couldn't do any of these things without you. We are so grateful to those of you who felt that our mission was your mission too. You've told us and shown us that you care about these young people and the work we do at Jackson Street by donating your advocacy, your time volunteering, and your financial support. You've been true partners as we strive to end youth homelessness together. Your one-time gift, monthly gifts, stock or donor-advised fund donations, and legacy gifts all contribute in a crucial way to preventing and ending youth homelessness in our community, today and for the next 20 years. Please give as generously as you are able right now. Here's 3 ways you can give in support of Allie and youth like her. Scan the QR code you see on your table or on the screen in front of you. Visit www.jacksonstreet.org and click on the big donate button at the top of the page. Or find a pen, write a check, and send it to one of the P.O. boxes on the screen. While you give, please enjoy listening to the music from past resident Timothy Walters.
Join us in giving.
Give generously.
Please support these youth.
Your gift makes a difference.
Help youth like me.
This concludes our Youth Rising event for this year. Thank you again on behalf of so many for being with us then and now.